Why is it that you can have the title, the experience, and the results, and you still don't feel like you belong in the room? You think it's a confidence problem, but that's not actually what's holding you back. I'm Dr. Cara, psychotherapist, executive coach. I have worked with leaders across 5 continents inside healthcare, corporate, and everything in between. I'm going to show you what's actually going on so you can finally feel more confident. Stay with me. Picture a leader, highly accomplished, promoted fast, track record that speaks for itself, and yet she overprepares by 3 hours because she's terrified of the questions she can't answer. She holds her breath during every performance review because underneath the title and the results, she's running on quiet fear. What if they figure out I do not actually belong here? Gallup's research tells us that managers account for at least 70% of the variance in employee engagement, which means the way you feel about yourself is showing up directly in how your team performs. This is not a personal problem. It is a leadership problem. I want to tell you something I learned from an avocado. Yeah, I know it sounds crazy, an avocado. I used to hate avocados, their texture, their taste. Everything about them I could not stand. And I can honestly tell you, my opinion did not matter one bit to the avocado. People kept buying them, restaurants kept serving them, and the value did not drop because I didn't like them. And then my palate changed. I started loving avocados. They are genuinely one of my favorite foods now. Can I get a side of guac, please? But here's the thing. Their value did not go up because I changed my mind. The avocado's worth stayed constant, completely independent of my opinion. Now I need you to hear this. Your worth works exactly the same. Not your performance, not your approvals, not whether or not they've clapped after your presentation or whether your boss responded to your email. Your worth is not emotion. It is not going up when things go well and is not coming down when they do not. It is settled. The problem is not that your value changed. The problem is that nobody ever told you that. So you've built an entire leadership identity on trying to prove something that was never actually in question. Before I go further, if you want to work through this in real time, not just watch a video about it, I built something exactly for that. My virtual mind is available 24/7 and trained on everything I'm about to teach. The link is in the bio. Now let's go deeper. There are 2 things that get confused constantly in leadership: worth and validation. Validation is real. We all want it, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to be recognized for what you do. The problem is when your sense of worth becomes dependent on receiving it. When validation runs the show, you make decisions based on who's watching, not based on what you actually believe. You give feedback based on who you can afford to upset, not based on what the team actually needs. And you shrink in rooms where you should be standing tall. You over-deliver for people who are already satisfied because you're trying to manage a feeling that no amount of output can actually fix. Leading from validation exhaustion looks like saying yes when you mean no, over-explaining a decision that needed no explanation, working twice as hard after one piece of criticism to cancel it out. You know that feeling. It's not sustainable and it's not required. So how do you actually change that? Not a pep talk, not a mantra in your mirror, a real shift. Here's where it starts. You have to separate your identity from your output. Your results are evidence of the work. They are not evidence of your worth. You can have a hard quarter and still be brilliant. You can get the critical feedback and still be exactly who this team needs. You cannot know the answer in the room and still deserve to be in that room. The leaders who carry the most authority are not the ones who never doubt themselves. They are the ones who no longer need everyone else to settle the doubt for them. They walk in knowing, not knowing everything, knowing themselves. That is the difference. That is the difference between performing leadership and practicing it. One is exhausting and one is sustainable. One is built on sand and one is built on something that doesn't shift every time the wind changes. Confidence is not something you build from the outside in. You do not get it from the next promotion. You do not get it from the standing ovation. You do not get it from finally making everyone happy. You get it when you stop letting other people's opinion determine what you already are. Settled, worthy, enough. If you are walking into rooms right now, second guessing every decision you make, and it's starting to slow you down, bring that situation into my virtual mind. Tell it exactly what you're dealing with and let it help you think it through clearly so you can make the call without spiraling. It's waiting for you. Link in the bio. You lead well. Now lead as yourself. I'm Dr. Cara. Connect to yourself first, then elevate and expand for those you lead.